Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Britt, creator of the StyleShaker, your guide to cleaner, greener beauty, skincare, and more. And today I'm back with a review for the EXA foundation. This is the new foundation, liquid foundation over at Credo. I've tested it out and I have my results. Stick around and let's get it. Heads up, I'm wearing the Red Apple lipsticks Day After Morocco. Here. I purchased this. No one's paying me to say any of the following. We're getting my honest review and opinion per the norm. If you like seeing honest reviews over here, then make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell notification so you never miss another one. I have this in shade Oak Jew. It is the medium light shade with neutral undertones. There are 43 shades available. It is a huge step in the right direction for cleaner beauty. This is one of the largest shade ranges out there. It's getting a ton of press for that, and I'm really happy to see it. $38, so a very reasonable price point, and this is supposed to be a buildable satin foundation. Good for all skin types. This is one of those skincare infused makeup formulas. It has a lot of different elements to it that are good for the skin, supposedly. Vegan, cruelty-free, gluten-free. Okay, let's go into the scorecard. Want to know what the StyleShaker scorecard is? It is the foundation of every review over here. Something I created so I can be as objective as possible. And I have more details on that if you want to check it out in the description box below. There are 7 quick questions that give you the full holistic point of view on a product. First question is, how do the ingredients look? I am not a cosmetic chemist. This should be of no surprise to anybody watching the channel. Just do a quick synopsis here on anything that I see that makes me go, ooh. Okay, so there is one. It's phenoxyethanol, not the end of the world, but I'm not really a big fan of having phenoxyethanol. I try to avoid it. There are coconut oil derivatives in this formula. Not a problem for me, but there are people who are sensitive to that, so I'm just letting you know. Question number 2. How is coverage? Well, one of the claims here is that it is a weightless formula. I think it really followed through on that claim. I didn't even feel it. It is not a super watery, thin formula. It has a little bit more of an emollient moisturizing texture to it, but it doesn't feel heavy on the skin. And it is also supposed to give, the claim is, semi-satin luminous glow. Looks just like your skin on a really good skin day. I did see semi-matte, so this is not your dewy, glowy situation. I like having the option to add my own luminosity if I want to, so it's not already in there. But this did follow through on the satin matte finish, as you will see on the application video. The luminous glow that they claim is in there, I personally did not see as much as the semi-matte finish. So for me, it was more about that semi-matte finish, getting rid of any extra shine. Any luminosity that I saw on my skin really came more from the moisturizing prep underneath, or if I combine this with a bit of a liquid highlighter. I wouldn't attribute it solely to this formula for what showed up on my skin. Overall, I would say the coverage here is not light, but it's more light to medium, and I think you can, I talk about building in a second, but that's where it really landed for me. It was exactly what the brand claimed. They said it was going to be a light to medium coverage, and it evened things out without looking too natural or too sheer. Once I figured out how to apply this, and I'll get to that in a second, I tried a lot of different methods here because I was running into some issues. Not big issues, but you know, application is really a huge part of it, and how you prep your skin and how your skin's doing is a big part of it. But once I figured out the application, my skin did look like skin after I applied this, even if it had a second layer on it. So it really wasn't that full matte. It stuck with the semi-matte claim, and it did even things out really nicely. Coverage and finish, it got a 4 out of 5 on the scorecard. Next up, does it blend and build well? I was already alluding to this. The claim is that it's buildable sheer to full coverage. I wouldn't say it was actually sheer. I'd say light to medium. I don't really think this is sheer out of the bottle. You can certainly thin it out with moisturizer. I found this to be buildable, like I mentioned, but it took a specific kind of application to really build in a way that lasted nicely. First, I applied it over moisturizer with just my fingers. As you guys know, if you're a subscriber, thank you. I usually like to use my hands. I'm a very lazy application person. I don't like to have to think too much, try too much, do too much. I just want to put it on my face, have it melt in, and walk out the door. The wear test showed it to settle a little bit, so it didn't really get a nice even coverage. Then I tried the kabuki brush. Didn't work that well. When I tried the kabuki brush, I found it to sit on top and look like little pinholes. Just based off of trying so many foundations, I was like, I don't think it's the foundation necessarily. I think I just need to find the right way to apply it. So then I tried a little sponge. This is the Jenny Patinkin sponge that I just got, which I'm really loving, by the way. I used a damp sponge to press this into the skin on top of moisturizer. That gave me the most almost flawless finish, it also allowed me to create a nice little layer of it that I could build on top of. For building, I found pressing in with my fingers worked better. I know this sounds a little bit insane. You find your pace, you find your flow by product, and I think the sponge was a really good base application. It also lifted some of the product up, so I did want to try building on top to create more of a fuller finish. That's when I used my fingers and I pressed it on top, and especially around the angles of the face and the little creases of the face, I made sure that I pressed it in, because at the end of the day, every other time I would see it settling. This prevented that and it stuck throughout the day. So this is a whole spiel about application, but it really does kind of tie into the building and blending. Overall, I would say it built well. It just depends on how you build it. Again, use the fingers there. And it blended into the skin well once I used the sponge. Because of all of that hoopla that I had to do, I gave it a 3 out of 5 on the scorecard. Okay, so does it last? When I applied it with a sponge, I found it to last when I didn't even set it, but it didn't stay fresh. For me, I feel like the semi-matteness of it faded a little bit. That could also be because I have a moisturizing base underneath. My skin needs it, so I'm gonna use that no matter what. I did also see, again, until I used the sponge, settling, and you'll see this in my wear test. I tried these for 8 hours. I actually did a bunch of these. After I did it the first time without the sponge, you'll see the settling around the lines of my nose, and then it's sitting slightly on top of the skin. This natural light. You can see it gathered a little bit, and it's sitting on top. Then I tried again with the sponge and the other method I was just mentioning. It's just the coverage faded a little bit. And again, I did not set it. I've seen foundations that just melt right in. This melted once I had the application, but by the end of the day, I could still see a little slight feathering on the cheek, on the chin. You can see it's gathering a teeny bit less. And then there's a tiny bit of flaking here, and this is moisturized skin. I have combination skin. I do have like solid oil production, so usually that doesn't happen unless it's just the formula in my skin doesn't work well. It makes me think that it might be better on an oily skin type that already has that level of moisture, and maybe it would melt a little bit better. Drier skin types might not work, might need more prep. Overall, got a 3 out of 5 on the scorecard for lasting. Is this a non-irritating formula? Again, I am not a cosmetic chemist. I'm just not. I mean, I kind of want to play one on TV, but I'm not. Coconut oil, great for my skin. Maybe on your skin, it's like, no. So take that into account here. I already mentioned that it has phenoxyethanol, coconut derivatives. I'm dinging it a little bit more for the phenoxyethanol. Overall, for this being a non-irritating formula, got a 3 out of 5 on the scorecard. Shade range, inclusive. Yeah, it's one of the most inclusive shade ranges I have seen. They have a sampler packet, so you can use that to find the perfect shade for yourself, which is a huge help. I just sort of winged it, and I guessed this one. It's a little honey-toned for me. It says that it's a neutral undertone, but it felt a little honey-toned, but it was pretty darn close. 5 out of 5 on the scorecard there. Final question, is this a consciously created product? So if you've been watching, you know that the 2020 mandate over here is, because I really am just getting sick of all the plastic, I said if there's no refill available, then it will automatically not be able to score above a 2. I know it's harsh. You saw my unboxing. I was going gaga over what they wrote on the box, let alone just the box. It was like made of this, made of this, made of this. Only problem here is that I can't get a refill yet. So maybe because they're so far ahead on shade range and packaging and all the rest of it, pretty soon they'll be like, here you go, EXA now has refills available if you want them in biodegradable little packets. That's just in my head. That's just a dream in my head. But I would love for that to be a reality. Because of the refillable issue, they only got a 2 out of 5. I know, but so goes life over here. That brings us to a total score of 20 out of 30, a very respectable score. Now it's time for the wrap up where I tell you the pros, the cons, and my final verdict. Let's start with the pros. What I loved most about this, and what I think you might love most, is the fact that it really does feel weightless. The semi-satin finish turned down some of the shine, so if you're not looking for dewy, you're gonna like this. 43 shades, hello, huge. Love that they talk about everything on their packaging. And when I was using my sponge, it gave a really nice level of coverage that was buildable. It just wasn't melting into the skin perfection, but I'm a stickler on that. The cons, what I just mentioned, That application took me a while. There's a bit of a learning curve. Once you get it, you can work with it. And again, I think it does give a lovely amount of coverage, but you gotta be careful based off of your skin type and how you wanna apply what you put on underneath. There's more thinking than I would like to have for makeup application, but that's just me. And the phenoxyethanol I'm not a fan of, and there's no refills available yet. I keep saying yep because I'm like, so the final verdict, would I repurchase this again? I'm not in love with it at this point. I'm in like with it. I know when I really, really love a foundation. This I really, really liked. I didn't really, really love it. So I'm gonna say no, I wouldn't repurchase for now. But if that changes, you'll know probably either here in a favorites roundup or on Instagram. And if you wanna know what I would use instead or what their favorites are, we'll be finally launching, I know it's taking me a minute, the Britt's Picks guide for fall and winter, or you can always just go to the favorites playlist on YouTube. You can always check that out. It's always there for you if you need it. That's it for this review. That's my opinion and the scorecard's opinion of the EXA High Fidelity Foundation. What do you think? Would you try it? Have you tried it? Share in the comments below. I love hearing from you there. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it and found it helpful, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell notification so you never miss future reviews over here. I'm gonna go put this away and start testing some more products for you. Until then, bye. Hey everybody, welcome back.